Hi, everybody. This is Career Search Lunch and Learn, and I'm Linda Brubaker. This is a career search networking and support group. We're here to provide resources and support for one another. Now, I know that many of you don't really want to be here. Some of you have been here for a while, and I love seeing your face from day to day, but by the same token, I know that you'd rather be doing something else, and that means working in your next forever job. So what I want to be able to do is remind you that we're here to provide you with networking and support. Our goal is to give you tips, tricks, networking connections to answer your questions and give you those resources to help you move to that next forever role. Now, you notice that I said next forever because I don't believe in forever roles anymore. Whether it's a new job, whether it's a contract role, a W-2 position, whether you're thinking about a side hustle or going off on your own. All of these things are things that we're doing as ways of finding out what it is we want to do and how we want to be there. And making those changes all the time is good. Now, when I say next forever job, it also means that it's an acknowledgement that companies are not offering next forever jobs forever, are not offering forever jobs anymore. Okay. We know how volatile the economy is. So it's up to you to take control of that search aspect for yourself. So always be looking, always be networking, and keep coming back. And let us help and support you. I'm Linda Brubaker, and I am a career search coach. I've been in this business now for well over 20 years. I have over 20 years of experience in HR, as everything from an HR business partner to a hiring manager, a recruiter. I managed recruiting within companies, and I've been an outside recruiter, what we used to call a headhunter. I tell you that because I'm bringing all of that experience to what I do now. And I've been a dedicated career transitions coach now for the last 8 years. I'm constantly networking with my companions, with my connections. So I'm looking to see what's the most useful things now, because things change almost on a day-to-day basis. What's going on in the job market? What are the best practices for job seekers or those looking for those side hustles or their own roles? I'm looking constantly to see what recruiters are seeing, both those who are inside and outside, and what they want to see, as well as what hiring managers are seeing. And I'm always looking to see what's next on that job front, to see where things are going and how we can fit in. So I'm telling you that because I'm bringing all of that experience, all of that research to what we talk about here. I do this program as my give back. Several of you understand when I say we're paying it forward. And to some extent, these meetings are paying it forward for all of us. We're sharing those ideas. But this is my pay it forward kind of a moment. This is an important thing to me. And I've been doing this now actually since March of 2020. Oh, no, actually, I've been doing it since March of 2017. But since March of 2020, I've been doing it online. So as I'm thinking about it, we've helped a lot of people, and that's one of the things that I really like. Told you that this is not a sales organization or a sales message. I'm going to put my own information in the chat just once. One of the ways that I support what I do here, my ability to do this, is by doing some private individual coaching with some of you. And I see some of my clients on screen now, and I love that. I'm happy to work with anybody, but that's the end of my sales pitch. The next sales pitch that I'm making is for our private group. If anybody would like to join us, remember, that's where we share additional information. It's also where I'm going to be posting our LinkedIn or the chat when we're done today, as well as a summary, and we can ask additional questions and support. So please join us there. For those of you who are new, please type new all in caps in the chat if you would like to be able to introduce yourself. If you have a quick win, okay, that's where we're going to start. So as many of you know, we start these meetings with a quick win. It's our way of telling people it really can be done, sharing something. And a quick win doesn't mean that something had to work and you've got your next job. It could be that you reached out to an old connection. It could be that you started doing something a little differently. It could be you had an interview, okay? Or you've been called for an interview. Whether that interview goes anywhere or not, to me, that's a quick win. So if you have a quick win to share, please raise your digital hand. and let's talk about some of those and share some of those. And I know some of you have. Lisa.
Hello.
Hello.
I don't know if it's a quick one for me because at least I'm proactive. I applied for a job that it's perfect for me. I'm perfect for it. It's perfect for me. Um, and I have not interviewed for a while, so I have been, in fact, later on today, I'm going to do interview prep, even though I haven't even gotten an interview.
Good.
Um, but I need to be proactive and this will be good for me.
Absolutely. So how are you doing? Are you doing interview prep with another person? Are you doing
I'm doing interview prep with Mindy Stern.
excellent?
I won uh, at the Michigan Summit
Right.
last week when I entered. So I won that, and it was a hour consult. So we're going
Excellent.
to do interview prep, and she's going to help me with that.
Excellent.
So yeah,
Congratulations. Let us know
thank
how
you.
that interview goes and moving forward. The idea of being proactive in the search, getting some of those interview prep set down, doing the research now,
Mhm.
reaching out to people is always a good thing. Don't wait till the last minute.
Yes, I don't want to wait. I don't want to wait because I really like this job. I really like the company, so this is a good thing.
Excellent. Congratulations.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Keep us posted. Mary Ann.
Yeah, hi. Unmute, sorry. Mindy's fabulous. She'll keep you on task and kick your butt. You'll have a good time and good luck. So I had a couple things happen this week. I have been communicating with this guy on LinkedIn. I don't know him, but he is in the immigration space and doing wonderful things. And I have always commented on his posts, and we set up a time to talk, just he and I, on Friday. So to me, that's a quick win.
Absolutely.
Uh, and the other thing is, there is a group called WERC, WERC, which is Worldwide Employee Relocation Council. I think that's it. So they're having a mentor-mentee program, and I signed up to be part of that. And we're going to meet next week sometime. So it's just a matter
Congratulations.
of getting out there and
And
just
that's exactly
showing your
right.
face. And yeah, anyway, that's
Perfect.
what I got.
Excellent.
What is it called?
Congratulations.
WERC, WERC. Worldwide Employee Relocation Council. They're a really, really great group of people. I went to one of their conferences 2 years ago that my company sponsored, so I got to go for free. They just do great things in the global mobility space and immigration and all the things that I'm interested in. And it was a superb conference.
Excellent. Let us know how that goes. I love the fact that you're getting some of that.
Me too.
Okay.
Oh, thanks, Linda.
Sure. Okay. Hello there. How is it going, Charles? Oh,
It has its moments, but I did find something that I thought might help some people. I
excellent.
know that for me, I know we talk about your resume should be customized for each opportunity. I personally struggled with um, seeing how my skills might translate across things or um, being more of an engineer, a sales engineer, sort of, I'm a little more black and white and literal. I did find a tool that I like that I've started using. It's only available on ChatGPT, and my experience was I used it about once or twice, maybe once a day, and then I tried something the next day. I didn't have enough free credit, so I had to join at the $20 level a month. But it's called GPT Oracle, Job Oracle. If you, I'll post the link, but you can upload your resume, your job description. I uploaded my complete LinkedIn profile with all my licenses and certifications and job descriptions and everything else that I wrote, and it chunks out an updated resume. Now, like anything with AI, and we always talk about it, you got to proofread it. You got to take out what you're comfortable with or not comfortable with. Um, and then, you could move on. But it does add things that I wouldn't think, or rearrange sort of skills or competencies that I wouldn't necessarily have surfaced. So I know that that's sort of a challenge that I have. And because everything needs to be customized, this really helps me do that. And then I go back and I edit it, and it does help me. So I'm posting that link in the chat for those that are interested.
Excellent. Okay, now those ChatGPT tools or any of those AI tools or job scan, they're a good starting point, but they do hallucinate. They're going to give you information that isn't either relevant to you or relevant to the job. So you do be careful, use it as that starting point only. Don't do beyond that, because we can tell, by the way, if your resume is not sounding like you. It has to sound like you. So starting point, yes. Final point, no. And it's not just pulling out things that don't match. It's making sure that it really fits you and the job. One of the things we found with some of these tools is that they will bring in things that as a recruiter, I'm not really looking for. And so how do I phrase it? Think about when you're talking about those transferable skills, you have to be able to demonstrate how they actually fit that new job in a conversation. So it has to be something that you're adding there. In addition, what you're talking about is that those skills that you're adding, think about them also as Boolean search terms. One of the things we've found with a lot of these AI tools for resumes is that they're going to add things like communication skills. Everybody's going to add communication skills. I'm not searching on communication skills. Communication skills is something you demonstrate to me by the way you write and the way you talk, not something that you say because it's not a tool I'm going to choose.
Yeah, and as I said, Linda, totally agree. There were things that it listed as a core competency that I would say I knew about, and I haven't dipped my toes in for many years. So I took those out. I wasn't comfortable saying that was a core competency.
So
Um,
one
you
of
know,
the things, yep,
you
I'm going
gotta
to remind you, yep,
yeah, you
is
gotta
that
own your story.
you have to own your story. That's exactly right. You have to be able to share it and understand what it's all about and give them examples of what works and what doesn't for you and what you can bring. So if you've done it 30 years ago and you never want to do it again, or it's really out of date, it's not something you want to bring up. However, if you did it 20 years ago and it's something that is still relevant and something you can either bring up to speed and it's important for the new job, of course you can add
Yeah.
it. Okay. It's really important. But that customizing, a great opportunity. By the way, translating those skills from one job to another, that's what my specialty is helping you figure out what some of those are and talking about them in both your resume, your cover letter. Oh, and latest research, for those of you who are saying I'm just spraying and praying, latest research says that, and spraying and praying means you're sending out the same resume to everybody and saying, okay, here's who I am. You figure out how I fit. Latest research from internal recruiters and from hiring managers says they want 98% of them are looking for a customized, tailored resume. That's huge. Okay. In spite of all the AI tools that are out there, the easier you make it for me to see what you can do for me, the more likely I am to reach out for a call. Jennifer, unmute. There you go.
Hello. I am in a career transition to become a paralegal. I I enrolled in and completed a paralegal certificate program, which I completed in June, and I'm actively looking for new positions in the greater Philadelphia, PA area. Um, I had joined a local professional association for paralegals and volunteered, And one of the gentlemen that I met through that volunteering in that organization works at a firm that I applied for a paralegal job, and he said yes, he would refer me. So thank
That's
you.
great.
So a little networking there, I guess.
Networking is important. And the other thing is the value of those volunteer roles, because it not only builds that network, it gives you not only those additional people who can speak to what you do, it makes additional opportunities available, as well as an opportunity to build new skills and add something new to your resume and your LinkedIn profile. So congratulations on that. Okay, anybody else with a quick win? Otherwise, okay. Ray, can you raise your digital hand so I can find you on the screen? If you'd like to
Absolutely.
introduce yourself.
Hold tight. Here I am raising my
I found
hand.
you. Thank you.
Can you hear me loud and clear?
We can.
All right. Hi, everyone. My name is Ray Schlinkert. I live in Chicago. I was in Washington, D.C. 20 plus years, relocated for an opportunity to join an advertising agency. I was there about 11 months. There was a restructure. So I've been on an extended search because I found myself in a new city where I had almost no network. So I've been participating in networking and trying to get referrals. My background has been in account and program management, account relationships, program management. The singular thread, I would say, would be utilizing data points of our customers, as well as engagement and activities in order to move the needle, increase sales, focus on customer retention, things of that nature. I am not specifically in any industry. I've worked in pharma and healthcare marketing. I've worked in identity protection services and insurance, worked on the U.S. Army marketing account, and early in my life, I worked at AARP in Washington, D.C., the 50 plus population organization, 38 million members in the membership group. So I am looking for either agency or in-house roles. Again, that business connectivity, either between the client and the company or stakeholders in order to drive customer engagement. So I appreciate being able to participate. I've heard about your group, Linda, from a couple of folks. I believe you're in the Chicago area as well.
I
So
am.
I'm trying to expand my local networking, but happy to network with anyone else as well. And I see Charles is on the call. Charles and I just connected yesterday on Lunch Club. I don't know if folks are familiar with Lunch Club, but small world, I guess, to an extent. So Charles and I will be chatting on Friday. So
Excellent.
thank you so much. And Linda, maybe we can find some time to connect and just chat one-on-one so I can give you a little
Absolutely.
bit
So
of
in the chat, I've listed a link so that you can set up, anybody can set up a 20-minute chat.
Sounds great. Thank you
It's
so
a
much.
direct relationship or direct connection to my calendar.
Sounds great. Thank you.
You're very welcome. Okay. And I've had some of those chats with a number of you. Happy to work with anybody. I'm in Jakarta. Could we connect online? Okay. So this group is really good about making those connections and reaching out to each other. So please do that. Connect with each other, have those chats with each other. If you haven't had a chat with me yet individually, please do. Let's figure out what this is all about and how I can support you. Because that's what my goal is to be able to support as many of you as I can. Okay. That said, is there anybody else who's new? All right. Well, our topic for today then is that whole idea of brainstorming. It's going to be a round table discussion. And what that means is that while I may chime in on occasion because I can't help myself, this is really you led. This is here's something that you want to ask other people about, something that is working for you, something that's not, and then other people who are in that same situation, either because they found something that works, because they have an idea about it, because they want to contribute to that conversation. You all are going to be leading that portion of the conversation. This is a free for all, but again, because we have a number of people on the call, please make sure that you are muted until it's your turn to talk. So let's get started. So what's the conversation that you all want to start with? Okay. What's working for you? What's not? What's your major issue? And by the way, I'm going to be using some of this as a way of trying to find new topics for Lunch and Learns. We're planned through July. I'm planning now for August and September. Yes, Jennifer. Unmute, unmute. Unmute. There you go.
There- Okay, I'm in a career transition. I used to work in IT, but I decided for various reasons to change careers to be a paralegal. And I've had some good interviews. And there was one firm I would have really liked to work for, and the interview with the HR coordinator and their office manager at that, it was a mid-sized law firm, went very well, but then they said, well, they hired someone else that had experience. And I've had a couple jobs where I interviewed well, I prepared, did my research, but then they come back, well, we need some experience. Well, obviously I don't have experience. And I have worked on my resume with Linda's help, doing what I could do, but I guess that's kind of been a bit of a speed bump. I am trying to be proactive, and while it's not necessary to be a paralegal, I'm actively working on becoming a notary in my state
Excellent.
as a bonus, just as a bonus.
Okay. So if other people got suggestions, advice, okay, or have been in the same situation, I know you're on the screen, Marianne.
Jennifer, so there's a paralegal association of the bar association of wherever you are. Can you join that since you're a bona fide paralegal? The one in San Francisco, I used to do paralegal work too, but I don't have the certificate. I have a boatload of experience, but not that kind of credential. The Paralegal Association in San Francisco is having a boat cruise on the bay in the middle of August. And I'm not interested in doing that, but yes, scour the Bar Association website of where you are. You're in Chicago, right?
No, she's in Pennsylvania.
Oh, right. You're Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, my birth state. Yeah, there are a lot of resources. And then they have meetings you can go to. If you're not a member, they cost money, but if you're a member, they're usually free.
Okay. By the way, if there are association meetings, okay, depending upon the size of the meeting, if you reach out to the organizer or to somebody who's part of it and say, I am in career transition, I'm looking to get into this field, or I'm looking for my next job. I know you've got this meeting coming up. I'd love to volunteer. Do you have any activities for me that I can help you with? What that does is, number one, says that you're active and interested. It helps you make those networking connections. And often what happens is if you volunteer at an event, you get free access. Okay.
I've done that too. It works.
It
And then
absolutely
people
works.
see you and they begin to recognize you.
Yep. And part of that is getting yourself out there. Perfect. Any other resources for Jennifer? Thank you, Marianne. So let's turn this into the broader conversation, if you will, if anybody's interested. Lots of us are making career transitions, going from one field to another. How do you get around that whole idea of not having experience in the field? Has anybody been able to counter that? Or face that too? We all know we have to start somewhere. Companies know we have to start somewhere. How many of you are making that kind of transition from one field to another where you may not have that kind of experience? Just wave your hand. Okay. So have you, I see several of you. Okay. So what I'd like to do, have you had, absolutely, those transferable skills are really important, showing what you can do. And it's up to you to demonstrate how you can move, how what you've done before matches what you're going to do. Now, in the case of a paralegal, that's more difficult because you really need to have some of that experience. But Jennifer, build on that classwork, okay? And the projects that you've done. In this economy, though, given the fact that there are so many people looking, it's unfortunately relatively easy. I shouldn't say that. There are other paralegals who are looking who do have experience. So being able to demonstrate what you can do. A larger firm is probably better than a smaller one, where you don't want to be the sole paralegal if you haven't had that experience. They may not. Okay. Monique.
Yes, hi. Yes, I'm in a similar situation. I come from an IT background and I'm trying to transition into project management. And I've been getting a lot of recruiter interviews, but haven't made it to a hiring manager yet.
Okay.
So,
And what do you think the issue is?
you know, I'm not sure. I usually make it through the first two, the levels of recruiters, and then you're kind of in a waiting game, and some of them have, come back to say that either, obviously someone else has been selected for the role, or they decided to not to go with that position. Excuse me. And I haven't really been able to get any feedback as far as if my resume actually got reviewed or not, or if there was any input or not. So I feel like I'm kind of stuck at that point.
Unfortunately, we often are. So are these recruiters internal or external?
These are majority external, I would say. So third party.
Okay.
So they're the people who either grab you on LinkedIn or you've submitted a resume to them and they follow up with you. A lot of mine actually have been where they found me on LinkedIn.
Perfect. Good. That's a good sign. Okay. It says your profile is working. Okay. So if you're talking outside recruiters, I told you I couldn't stop myself from chiming in. The idea is that an outside recruiter and an inside recruiter are looking for two different things to some extent, and you have to approach them differently. The outside recruiter normally can only submit 3 to 5 resumes for any position. So they're going to go through and they're going to talk to a lot of people to make sure that the people that they are sending into the company are the best fits. You're not going to get feedback because they don't have the time or they don't take the time to do that. It's another way, though, of getting those credentials out and getting those interviews under your belt so that you can continue to have those conversations. Build on every one to try and figure out the questions that they've asked so that you come up with next responses for the next ones. The external recruiters only get paid if they get somebody hired, which is why they churn and burn, in a sense, a number of candidates before they actually go in. What you might be able to do, if you felt like you had a good conversation with that external recruiter, is reach out afterwards and say, I really enjoyed working with you. I understand this position might not be a fit, but I'm happy to talk about other openings as they become available. Where do you see my skill set best matching your client's needs? You may or may not get feedback, but it's another way of trying to get it. As well as reminding them that you're still interested in moving forward in other roles. Okay. Alexander, what did you want to add to the conversation?
Well, I just had my hand up when you asked about people who are in job transition.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of in the same boat, and I've just been doing a lot of volunteer work, like recently American Red Cross, and I'm I'm actually doing kind of like almost like a recruiter position, trying to fill roles for them, but it's a volunteer role. And I did find a position I just applied for that's kind of similar to that's like an engagement coordinator role. So I'm thinking I can use that experience from Red Cross and apply it there.
Absolutely. By the way, volunteer experience is something you should add to both your resume and your LinkedIn profile. You've got specific skills and accomplishments that you've been able to handle through those particular roles. It doesn't matter whether it's paid or volunteer. The experience is the experience. And it works. Aaron, would you like to join this part of the conversation?
Yeah, hi. Just building off of the whole internal recruiter versus external recruiter talk. Is there, so, you're crafting your resume, you're crafting your LinkedIn profile, for the role that you're looking. Are there is there a way to finesse your language or keywords that will attract more internal recruiters versus external? Because I get a lot of external recruiters reaching out to me, and you're right, it is a lot of turn and burn, and I kind of take that for face value. But what I would rather see is an internal recruiter with a company reaching out to me. So is there a difference in how you position yourself to attract more of those internal versus external?
Because the LinkedIn profile has to be generic. Okay. Your resume is the specific for the job or the
Right.
company. The LinkedIn is generic. So how do you attract more internal recruiters to your LinkedIn profile? It's tough. Okay. Especially because some companies don't like their internal recruiters reaching out. They're so busy that they're going to be dealing with what's coming in, not necessarily doing the reach out piece. So how do you do it? You do it on the basis of your engagement, your connections, your comments on other people's posts. If you are interested in a specific company, make sure you're following them, commenting on some of their posts as well. Some of the comments that you make, and it doesn't have to be a full post, can work for that. But is there a specific way to target your profile so that it attracts internal versus external? Not that I'm aware of.
Okay.
But we can take a look at your profile at some point and see whether we can come up with some ideas.
Okay, great. Thanks.
Of course. Alexander, do you have a comment?
I wanted to kind of go back to what he said about, or what we just mentioned about commenting on posts. Now, I've done that for like at least one or two couple companies already. And when I get replies, I think they're bots that reply because I look at their profiles, they don't have any connections whatsoever. And so I know they're bots. So how is there a way to avoid that?
$60 million question. If I had the answer to that, right, I'd be rich, wouldn't need to worry about anything else. However, we are noticing more and more of those bots replying. Okay. And you'll tell them not just because you look at their profile and there are no connections or very few. We talked about this, I think, last week or a couple of weeks ago.
Yep.
But you'll also see that it's the same message over and over and over again. It's almost that automatic trigger. Two things to do. Number one is go to the profile, report the profile to LinkedIn. There's a spot that says report. And what you're reporting is, I think this profile is fake. So that's number one. Number two, go and remove that comment from your posting. Okay, or if you wrote the post, you can remove their comment.
I commented on another post. It was on the company's post.
Okay, and is somebody reaching out to you or are they commenting on your comment?
They commented on my comment, but it said, "Oh, reach out to this person. Here's some email address." I know it's fake.
Yep. Okay, so you can remove that comment from your comments, but you can also block that person from commenting or reaching out to you again.
Okay.
But first is to report the post, report the profile. Second, okay, is to delete the comment and then block the person. And I'm using person loosely. Okay, because we know
Yeah.
that many of them are not real. Unfortunately, there is no way yet to avoid those. James.
I just real quick, I just wanted to add an extension to this conversation.
Yes, please.
Can you guys hear me?
We can hear you.
Oh, okay. So in terms of when you on LinkedIn, when you report a post, there's also on that prompt that LinkedIn gives you, there's a little checkbox that says, do you want updates on this report? So if you each choose if you want updates, you can get updates, you'll get them from LinkedIn. If not, I never do. I've reported multiple what I consider also bot profiles. I've never checked the checkbox to continue, to get reports on what LinkedIn's activity is, but just throwing that out there for whatever reason somebody is interested, the option is there.
It is there, and that's a good one. But remember, it's not just reporting it as spam, okay? It's reporting the profile as a fake profile. That's part of the thing that's important. That's what LinkedIn is starting to look at. And we are finding that the more people who do that for the same profile, the more likely LinkedIn is to remove that profile. That doesn't mean a new one isn't going to pop up tomorrow or 5 minutes from now. But LinkedIn is starting to get the message that we don't want these kinds of things in the system. Okay, so make sure that you are not just blocking the person, make sure you're not just reporting the comment, but you are first going to the profile and reporting the profile as a fake profile. This is not a real person. Aaron.
Yeah, just changing the conversation dynamic
Okay.
a little bit. I'd be curious to hear how people are structuring their summary statements on their resumes. How long are they? I mean, how many lines do you guys typically write? Is it geared around your values? Is it geared around specifically what you're going to bring to the table for the company? Do you add a lot of your personality into it? Do you keep it more professional?
Okay, Sherry, I know that you asked a question this morning in our LinkedIn private group, also about that summary statement. I know your camera isn't working.
Yes, I did.
Okay, so not everybody's probably read that yet. So can you share what that was about? Can you join us on screen, Sherry, from your phone?
Hold on a second. I am gonna see if I can find that post. All right.
So while she's looking for it, okay. That summary up at the top of your page, of your resume, should not be a generic one. This isn't everything you want. This is what you want for them, what you can do for them. It's no more than 4 to 5 lines. In fact, I'd like to see it shorter, honestly, because we stop reading when it gets too long. The advantage of the summary is the words there, as if they are anywhere in your resume or on your LinkedIn, or on your cover letter, all of those are picked up by that applicant tracking system, so that those words are relevant to their search as well, to try and figure out which candidates they want to have that initial conversation. But if it goes beyond 5 lines, most of us stop reading. In terms of what it should be, and we're going to talk next week, I think, about the differences between your resume and your profile. So we'll carry on that conversation a little bit there too. But the top of that resume, that professional summary, is 3 to 5 lines of who you are in relationship to this job. So when you ask whether or not it should be more casual sounding, right, more personal sounding, it is the only spot really on your resume where you can use that more casual language. It can go beyond the specifics. You can bring a little bit of your personality into it. But yes, it's who you are in relationship to this. Sherry.
Yes. Okay. So, my question was, okay, that I have over 15 years of experience in marketing, and a third-party recruiter is submitting me for a role that only requires 2 to 3 experience. Yeah. It's a contract to hire role at one of my top target companies I want to work for. So I put in Linda's group, I put what I initially had in my resume, but in the chat here, this is what I have in that summary. So essentially it's about 4 to 5 lines. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 4.25 lines, long. And usually what I do for the first few words of it, just to make sure that it will rank in the ATS, is I put the actual job title in the first line with some keywords in there. Basically saying this is the role that I'm applying for. It may not have the exact job title names in my experience, but this is the role that I'm applying for. And then, give a little blurb of my experience.
Okay, so 2 things. Every word counts. Yes, you want to be able to trigger something within the ATS, but remember, you're also doing it for my eye. I don't want some of the fluff that's there. Sorry, Sherry, but results driven tells me nothing. If what you're looking at is the job title should go at the top of the resume. It doesn't need to go in that professional summary. Every resume that you're sending out should be labeled with the specific title of the position you're applying for. That's my quick visual. Okay. I'm not worried about ATS. I'm worried about me. That's my quick visual that this is the job you're applying for. And I don't have to look any further. I know it's not generic. It's really this job. So that's number 1. Number 2, when you're using words like results driven, that doesn't tell me anything. Results driven, I want to see, instead of that, I want to see your focus on accomplishments someplace at the top of that resume. So marketing automation coordinator and you can say 2+. You don't have to just say 2 years. But you don't even need to say the number of years that you have in that summary. I'm going to look. But if you want to say it and they're looking for 2 to 3 years, you have 2+. Okay. I like the fact that you've got the HubSpot, the Salesforce, and so on. But what I'd rather see is that lead capture, whatever, all of that makes sense for the new job, then that's what they want to see. Instead of saying results driven, consistently generate results such as, or including. But remember, this is a summary of what you can do for me. You can say metrics driven. You can say something else, but think about it from my standpoint. If I'm reading results driven, so everybody says that. What does that really mean? It's one of those words we're trying to eliminate from your resume because it raises more questions than it answers. Ray.
Hi, Linda. I have a question about that. So, obviously, we want to have as many metrics and impact KPIs in our resume as possible. Drove this, lifted this, and here's the percent by 10%, 15% doubled. So I'm just playing devil's advocate. If you say results driven, then you should have results peppered throughout each role, correct? So is that okay to not? Let me just finish my statement real quick, because some roles you might have impacted retention. Other roles you might have lifted engagement. So up top, if the job is account director, right, you would think that person's going to have those, but if you singularly put some type of number up top, you're probably repeating it down at another point. So that's where I'm just emphasizing the KPIs and numbers and lift and growth and all that should and must be in your resume if you're going to use the word results driven or metrics driven, right? Is it okay to not have it up top as long as you have it peppered throughout and it's visible? Somebody skims it and they're going to see percentage lift, save
Yep.
this, did this.
So here's the deal. I
Yes, sir.
spend
Yeah,
7 to
ma'am.
9,
Excuse me.
no, I spend 2 to 9 seconds on my initial read of your resume.
Right.
If it's buried, if all those results are buried under those individual jobs, I may not get there.
Okay.
Okay. Not only that, if it's buried in that job, it's tied to that job. So while I want you to have some results under each job, I really want the most significant things that you've done anywhere in your history that relate to the new job in a separate section up top, either called accomplishments or highlights, because that focuses my eye immediately. I don't care whether you did it 20 years ago, as long as it's still relevant and still works. So that accomplishment section is kind of a mix between specific and generic. Here's the result. I'm not going to tell you where it was. Does that make it clear?
I'm totally tracking where you're coming from. It's just getting my head around that because that summary up top is, as you've said, is crafted for individual roles, should give a direction, and I feel confident that my resume does have all those
Exactly.
metrics.
And
But
I'm
it's
sure
whether
that it's
or not
true.
you get to that quickly enough,
But
right?
it's right. It's the idea of you're formatting it not just for a machine, you're formatting it for me.
Highlighting it, yep, and pointing
Okay.
and spotlighting it, yep.
So I call it the dummy on my side of the desk or the screen. Okay. The easier you make it for me to find things,
Sure.
see how you match, the easier it is. So my recommendation, and for those of you who work with me on resumes, or when we go through these resume workshops together, you know that what I suggest is a separate section up top that talks about skills or expertise, not core competencies. That even that term tells me that it's generic. I want to know what your skills are for this role. Okay. And I know it's semantics. You can use whatever you want. But I also want another section up top before you get to experience that actually talks about what those specific accomplishments are that you have, not too many, but some of them that tease me, that show me that you're somebody whose resume is I want to take a better look at. Okay. And yes, that's part of the changing. You can add more to it. You should put some under each individual job as well. But you want to make sure that they're all there. Okay. Next. Okay. Sharon, Charles, and Aaron, your cameras or your hands are raised, but I can't put you on screen and I can't highlight you unless your cameras are on. Sorry. Okay. Anybody else? Same part of the conversation or? Okay. What
Yeah,
are we?
I was just going to say, Ray, I struggled with, and I'm used to resumes being super tight and every word counts. I think they still do, but they want a little more flourish in the description than maybe just committing what the accomplishment is. You want it to be a little uplifting in that description is sort of what I've gathered along the
So,
way.
Charles, where do you mean uplifting in the description?
You want to say, instead of saying 120% of quota, you want to say exceeded quota by 100, you want to make it sound
I don't want just the number. I want,
positive and
I
up
want,
than
yeah.
just stating a cold fact. They, reduced, improved efficiency by whatever. You don't want to say optimize the process. You want to
Correct.
simplify it and make it a little more conversational rather than just a list.
Absolutely. You want to be able to talk about what the actual result was, but you also want to talk about the impact. Okay. So you need to be able to do both. So if you're thinking about, we often talk about what's called, what I call the START method. for putting together ideas, right? Situation, task, action, results, and then the last T is for transferability or tie into the new job. When you're thinking about those, that's how you put your stories together. That's how you think about what accomplishments are important for this new role. Always that tie-in. Always that transferability. What's important for them, not just what's important for you. But when you're actually writing it on your resume, all that you actually have to write is action and result. And to be honest, I'm really more concerned about result than I am about action. Okay. I want to know what you did that has an impact for that job or for me. Why you did it can be part of your story during an interview.
Um, I had a question like with mine. Let's see here. I'm trying to find it real quick here. So I said like people focused professional. This is for like the summary section. And I said with a background in customer service, facilitation, recruiting, tutoring, and staff engagement. And I said deliver strong results by prioritizing service excellence and relationship building, experienced in facilitating community related volunteer opportunities. That's what I wrote for my summary. I don't have much in terms of, at least for that section, I don't have much in terms of like metrics because I'm kind of still new to that.
No, besides that, in the summary, I don't want metrics. The summary is conversational. The summary is who you are in relationship to the job. You're putting metrics elsewhere. Okay, if there is a specific metric that they're asking for and you want to include it in your summary, you can. It is not necessary in the summary because you're highlighting it elsewhere. But Alexander, remember that that summary is based on what you can do for them, not everything. So if the tutoring experience isn't something that you can tie into the new job, don't include it in the summary. I don't want to know everything you've ever done. I want to know what you can do for me.
Okay.
Okay.
Let me ask you this. Would the same be true then for like if you took like a LinkedIn course or like a Coursera course, but it's not specifically related to that role? Do you think just omit that part of it?
It depends on your profile, add it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. If it's adding something to the new job or just the fact that you're showing that you're doing some training, sure, you can add it in. Okay.
Okay.
Monique.
Hi, yes. I was just wondering on my resume, I've started using, in addition to the professional summary, a section right under it for project related experience. Because since I'm in IT, most people don't relate, they don't really relate the two. And right now, pretty much most of my actual job history is on the second page because it's all, systems admin, systems admin, systems admin. I do mention project coordination in the titling, but that's not my specific job title. That wasn't my specific job title, but I did a lot of project coordination as part of my role. So I was trying to sort of lift that information out of that second page or out of all of those specific positions and highlight that at the top. So my first page is pretty much my summary, these projects, my, I guess you would call it my skills section, listing out whatever is in the role that I have, skills for, and then my education, because all of that's the only stuff that's really related to my new role since I'm transferring.
Okay. And I understand that. I'm going to tell you that that's going to make it more difficult for somebody reading it to try and figure it out. It's not a standardized format. And I understand why you're doing it. Education always belongs on the second page. It doesn't belong at the top unless you're applying for an education or clinically related position. Okay. Otherwise, education is at the end.
Okay, well, or I have my certifications also on that. So like the
Certifications are part of your skill set.
Okay,
Okay, you can include them there. You can include them in a variety of other places. When you're saying, if you're full, and I don't want to go into a specific resume review right now, especially since I haven't seen it, but your project work, and I understand why it's important, you can change titles, by the way, on your resume and on your LinkedIn profile. As long as they match, it's okay. And I want you to do that so that they become recognizable based on what people are looking for. We know the job titles change from company to company. We know you can be doing project management regardless of what the job is. So you're going to highlight some of all of that. But if you're listing out just specific projects, that's activities. That's not necessarily results.
okay,
Okay.
okay.
And I understand why you're doing it, but there may be a better way.
Okay.
Anyone else? I know Sherry had to drop off.
I had a quick question,
Yep.
like with mine. So you mentioned adding a separate section to, uh, because I think you mentioned where you said you want to mention the results at the top. So should I add like another section to it before I even get to the actual experience, or is it good the way it is?
I'm not sure what you're talking about, Alexander.
I believe you mentioned that the metrics, the results, because you want to look at the results. If they're not at you said if they're not at the top, then like within like the very top, they may not see it because they only spend what 2 to 9 seconds. So should I have like another section at the top where I mention those results?
So if they're related to the new job, so my recommended format is your professional summary at the top,
Mhm.
followed by, and these two sections are interchangeable. You can do one, whichever version or whichever location you want, but it's that summary up top. You want to include a separate section at that point that talks about skills or expertise related to this job. You want to include then a section that's called highlights or accomplishments that focuses in on the specific results that you brought, those metrics that are related to this job. And that's all before you get to your experience. Then you get to your experience. To be honest, when I'm looking at a resume, okay, I'm not talking about the machines, I'm talking about me. When it gets to my eyes, since I've got that 2 to 9 seconds, that first quarter to third of a page is where my eyes are really going to go. That's what's going to tell me how much additional time I'm going to spend looking at the rest of the resume.
So Linda, would you not necessarily do core competencies or skills in that top third?
I would include them. But again, I don't call them core competencies. Semantics, and I know it, Charles, but to me, when I hear core competencies, that's generic.
Okay.
Okay. You can include the same things. I don't care. But core competency says generic. I can do it for anything. But if you're telling me your expertise or your skills related to this position, that's related to this role. And again, semantics, and I know it, but semantics matter. Words matter.
So I have the summary section. I already have the skill section. What was the third one?
Accomplishments or highlights.
Accomplishments or highlights. I think that's the one I'm missing.
Okay.
Is the third
And
one
what-
also required, or could I have the first two?
I'm sorry?
Is that third section also like a required one, or could I have just the first two and then get into the actual?
It depends. These are not requirements by any means. This is my suggestion based on my own research, based on what I see, based on what recruiters are telling me, based on what hiring managers are telling me, based on the fact that 920 of the people that I've worked with so far have gotten offers.
Okay.
Okay. That trying to put that information, dummy on my side of the desk or the screen. You need to make it easy for me. If I have to read through everything, I may choose not to. You don't want me to have to read through everything to figure out how you fit.
Mhm.
You want to give me a reason to do that.
And then with the accomplishments, you would just bullet point them just like you would with everything
Yep.
else?
Accomplishments, bullet pointed, skills, core competencies, expertise is not.
So skills, expertise, and accomplishments, all those are bullet pointed.
No. Expertise and skills and expertise is the same things, whatever you want to call it. Those are not
Oh.
bulleted.
Okay.
Okay. The accomplishments absolutely are.
Okay.
Okay. All right. I'm going to stop the recording. Remind you all. Let me see. Let's figure out where everything is.